GamingBolt presents the 15 most expensive video game consoles of all time. Video game consoles are incredibly important to the games industry, as you might imagine. They've varied in cost over the years, but these fancy machines do not come cheap. You'll usually drop at least $200 on a new console, and as the tech improves, the price climbs with it. Here are the 15 most expensive video game consoles of all time. It's important to note that these consoles are not adjusted for inflation, so we rank the consoles' prices as they were at launch. Atari Jaguar, $249. Atari had put out some great consoles, that is, when the company actually was releasing hardware. The Jaguar was a pretty piece of kit and was the last one that Atari ever released onto the market. As it was their last effort, they likely wanted to sell as many units as possible, which led to the lower price point. Xbox, $299. As Microsoft prepared to launch headfirst into the console gaming market, they ensured that their platform would be incredibly competitive. Releasing at $299, it was more expensive than its competitors, the PlayStation 2 and the Nintendo GameCube. Luckily, it had the stellar Halo and other great titles on its side. Intellivision, $299. Released in 1979, the Intellivision was a competitor to the Atari 2600, but it couldn't match its price. Back in 1979, $299 was a lot to drop on what was viewed as a glorified toy. It had a profound influence on the gaming industry, but nothing so monumental that it changed the landscape forever. PlayStation, $299. The original PlayStation played a big part in the move to 3D gaming, alongside the N64. It was fairly pricey at $299, but no one could refute the quality of its games and the fantastic stories its titles told. Plus, the small gray machine wasn't too hard on the eyes. Wii U, $299. Nintendo missed the mark with this one. The name was confusing enough, then throw in the unique control scheme and a lack of games at launch. The $299 asking price was too much for some, even though it was still more expensive than the 8-year-old consoles it was competing against. Its price consistently dropped over its 4.5-year life cycle. It was a unique machine, but really just a half step to get to the Switch. PlayStation 4 Pro, $399. Looking like two PS4s stacked on top of one another, the PS4 Pro promised 4K, HDR support, and more power, even though most games wouldn't take advantage of it. The vanilla PS4 dropped in price at the time of its release, so it could sit snugly at $399, the original console's price at the time of launch. PlayStation 4, $399. The PlayStation 4's $399 price tag came as a breath of fresh air when the system was revealed in early 2013. As consoles became more technologically advanced, consumers began to worry that the price would increase exponentially. Thankfully, Sony settled on a cheaper entry point than it did with the PS3, making it much easier to jump into the 4th generation of the PlayStation family. Sega Saturn, $399. The Sega and Nintendo console war raged on for the 80s and most of the 90s. Sega always seemed to lag just a little bit behind. It released before the N64, which later let most of the air out of Sega's tires, and launched for more money than both the N64 and the original PlayStation. This and a combination of other issues left the system fighting to survive. Xbox 360, $399. The original Xbox did well for Microsoft, but the Xbox 360 showed that the company could make a real mark on the industry. Not only was its system affordable, but it promised the continuation of the Halo franchise and new franchises such as Gears of War. Sure, the Red Ring of Death was quite the snafu, but it somehow didn't diminish the console's success. Xbox One X, $499. The Xbox One X is not meant as a standard consumer item. It's for those who want to get the most out of their games, beefing up older titles and showcasing what true power in a home console can look like. Of course, all of this horsepower and speed comes with a hefty price. $499 isn't too unreasonable though, especially considering there's no Kinect to worry about. Xbox One, $499. The 3rd generation of the Xbox series of consoles launched at a high price point because Microsoft insisted on packaging the new and improved Kinect in with every box. It certainly wasn't a necessary inclusion, and the backlash led the company to quickly release a cheaper version of the Xbox One without the Kinect included. PlayStation 3, $599. Sony was very proud of the PS3's price when they took the stage at E3 and bragged that you would need to take a second job to afford the $599 machine. The PS3 was well known for its use of the Cell processor, which meant that it would be more difficult to develop for than the Xbox 360 or PC, so you would be dropping a lot of cash on a system that wouldn't even run most games as well as the Xbox 360. Neo Geo, $650. SNK is best known for its stylish selection of fighting games, but their console effort was also commendable. The sleek design and controller built for dealing out devastating combos were both well designed, but the $650 price point was hard to justify for a niche console. This was a time when everyone seemed to have a console on the market, but that didn't mean all of them were great. Panasonic 3DO, $700. Panasonic is best known for their DVD players and other home electronics, so of course, in the 1990s when everyone wanted to break into the gaming space after Nintendo and Sega made some headway, Panasonic developed and put onto the shelves the 3DO. It was a bulky device with curved black edges and a nice weight to go with its size. Like many other consoles of the time, it didn't quite catch on. Philips CDI, $700. The Philips CDI has gone down in history for many reasons, but the outrageous price tag and the terrible Zelda titles it received are always at the top of the list. For what the console was, it asked far too much of consumers. Luckily, this trend of super expensive consoles has died down, but that didn't make it any less unfortunate.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.